for, okay, we will open the Center County Board of Assessment and Revision of Taxes. There's a reverb on somebody's microphone. I don't know who it is. Check 1, 2. All right. Okay, for the June 10th Center County Board of Assessment, we'll open the meeting. If there's anybody present for public comment, now would be a great time to address the board. Hearing no one, we'll move ahead to old business with the approval of the minutes of the January 14th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the January minutes.
All right, and I will second the approval of the minutes. Any other discussions, additions, or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Under new business, Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Steve. So we're here today to request the approval of the real estate assessed value changes for the period of January 19th, 2021 through June 3rd, 2021. The net change to the tax base was $17,323,735 for that 6-month period. Revenue equates to $135,818 collected at face, and there were 836 value changes during this period. The current county assessed value stands at $3,678,066,125. The increase for the 1-year period was $50,902,915. The revenue equates to just under $400,000. Typically I'll look back in the year before and see how we're doing comparatively to other years. Of course, I didn't want to look back to 2020 because that was such an odd time in that we were shut down and weren't out collecting field data, due to the State Board of Certified Real Estate Appraisers limiting our activities, and also, the county shut down and things like that. But looking back into June of 2019, the numbers are very similar, very average. We did 815 changes. Change to the tax base was right around 16 million. So all in all, this was a very average period for us, with the average amount of construction and the average amount of assessed value increase for this time. When we eliminate that 2020 year, it was very, very average, we would say.
Mark, do you have a percentage increase on what that period change looked like?
No, not right away, Steve. I can get that to you, though, certainly.
I would appreciate it because, as we look at what our millage is worth, it's always beneficial to have some idea. It used to be that 3% was kind of the norm, and now we're nowhere near that. So
that's right, Steve. In the past, we had been seeing 3%, 2%. Of course, as those values increase, that percentage goes down. But during that period before the bust in 2008, we were seeing 3 or 4% a year, and then it dropped off significantly, and then has stayed around that 1.5% to 2% increase each year. But I think that's just.
Yeah, it's helpful for our budgeting purposes at the end of the year to know kind of what those numbers look like because, we rely on that for our revenue.
Sure, absolutely. And that's all I have regarding that.
All right. I have to, give me just a second here. My computer has taken a little bit of time off here. Let me see if I can get, okay, we're back. Okay, so we approval of real estate changes for the period January 19th, 2021 through June 3rd, 2021. Approval of attached list of real estate resolutions and the approval of the assessment roll for 2022. Is there any questions on any of those from the board?
I can go through these resolutions real quick if you'd like me to, Steve.
Sure, if there's anything of note.
We get a first and second on approval of the rules?
Amy's asking for a first and second on approval of the rules.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the rules?
I'd be happy to do that. I'll make the motion to approve the changes. So, Amy, are you talking about just number 3 there or number 1?
No, I'm sorry, number 1.
Okay. I'll make the motion to approve the real estate changes for the period of January 19th, 2021 through June 3rd, 2021.
And I will
I will
second the
second.
Hey.
motion.
Oh, Mark, you're on there. Okay.
Hey,
so
Mark.
we have a second. Any other discussion on the approval of the real estate changes? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And Mark, you're going to move to the resolutions.
Yeah, just moving to the resolutions, there's quite a few on here, but there's 3 categories. The mobile homes being raised or, disappearing or being abandoned, we have those each time. We have a few instances this time where we have issued the exonerations. The first one was for a veteran's exemption. Another one was for school. The other 2 were for school billing. So it really didn't affect the counties, but we still have to do resolutions for those. And the third was just some billing errors by the school district, which really don't affect the county. But as a board, you do need to approve those resolutions. So, nothing all that outstanding on here, certainly that affects the county. With the typical mobile homes moving around that we can't seem to find after they move. So that's all I have on the resolutions.
I did have one question, Mark, for you on this one. It seems like more than typical. I don't know if it just if it varies, but it seemed like there was more this time around. Is that the case, or?
With the resolutions?
Yeah, see, it just seemed like there was more, or in terms of the amount that was on there.
Yeah, some of these are, I guess, a little frustrating for us because, our staff will process these exonerations out to the taxpayers and to the tax collectors, and it's up to them to follow through on the exonerations and, take care of the business on their end. And this isn't the county. This is local elected tax collectors throughout the county in the different municipalities. So, we seem to have a few more of those, and that seems to be a little bit more prevalent now than it used to be. So that's kind of the reason why you see those extras on there. And with some of the school billing things, I mean, the Thomas and Cindy Mills, that was a name change. She was Cindy Walk. That was a name change, so the file for the school wasn't updated. And that's a school district that shares Center and Blair County's Taylor Township. And the CA student living, 361388. That's a big assessment, but that was broken up into 4 condo units. That's broken up into 361388 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the different elements of that building. And 88 was actually the main number at one time, but that was actually billed correctly, but the school district had double billed that 88 along with the other 4 parts of that condo declaration. So that's what we have on those.
Mark, I have one question. If you have a property that depreciates in value, in other words, let's say in 1994, it appraised for $100,000, and it sells in 2021 at $90,000. There's nothing automatically done. There has to be an action from the new owner to reduce the assessment. Is that correct?
Yeah, in that case, the appeal would have to be initiated by the taxpayer.
And that doesn't show up in these resolutions?
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay. That was really my question.
Appeals can be filed by either the old owner or the new owner in a case of that. Appeals follow property. Appeals don't follow ownership. So sometimes I'll have a property where I'll get a call from a real estate agent and they might appeal it. The owner might appeal it and then it sells. That appeal still stands because it follows property, not ownership.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. I didn't know whether or not these showed up as part of your real estate resolutions. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Do we have a motion to approve the list of real estate resolutions?
I can make a motion to approve the attached list of real estate resolutions.
I will second the motion.
All right. Properly moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Motion passes. Okay. Approval of the assessment roll for 2022. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, thanks again, Steve. In compliance with Article 8841 pertaining to preparation of assessment rule, which states, annually on or before the first day of July, the county assessment office shall prepare and submit to the board in a form prescribed by the board an assessment rule of property subject to local taxation or exempted from local taxation. So we have a listing by township borough of the total assessed value of personal and real estate for 2022. And there will be additional value added to that rule. And any person desiring to appeal from any assessment shall file a statement in writing on or before the first day in September. The tax rule showing individual assessments by electronic media is open for public inspection from August from 8:30 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. That's just a requirement that we must do each year for the assessment rule.
All right. Anything else we need to know about any action we need to take today?
Just approval of that rule.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion for the approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Okay. Back to you, Mark. A special appeal form.
Right, and certainly not that I'm looking for any more appeals, but with changes in assessment law recently, within the last few years, appeals for exemption follow appeal procedures. So let's say a church builds a facility in Center County, and they open that church in May. They won't go before the board for exemption until September, and the board's exemption would begin on January 1st of the subsequent year. So that church or any type of exempt entity could technically be forced to pay real estate taxes from the time they open until the time that exemption comes into effect. So it's been a little bit of a problem for a few years now. And I did a little bit of research, and I've talked with some colleagues in Allegheny County. And, they've developed this special appeal form where only certain appeals can be granted back to the date of occupancy or the date of assessment. So a church, any type of religious organization, a cemetery, a firehouse, anything that would fall under an institution of purely public charity, the exemption would be granted as of the date of the occupancy rather than January 1 of the subsequent year. So this is something I'd like to see done in Center County just to clean things up. In your packet, you received what we're proposing, we will be proposing to the Board of Commissioners through resolution for, the front page on our website and the instructions and also the form. I ran this by David Gaines, who's my solicitor here in the assessment office, and he approved, thought it was a good idea, and also, went through the information. So at some point, we're going to be bringing this to the Board of Commissioners, but I wanted to bring it to this board just as kind of a heads up and to get any thoughts you might have on it. It also falls for municipalities too when they purchase property. They can be subject to taxation if they're using the property for something other than public use, but it could also be subject to taxation from the time that they buy it until that January 1 date. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I guess what action do you need from this board if you're going to take it to the Board of Commissioners?
excuse me, since it's, kind of applies to the Board of Assessment and Revision of Taxes, I wanted you to become aware of it, but have some information on it prior to me, proposing the resolution to the Board of Commissioners to change the board rules.
All right. Are there any questions for Mark in regard to the special appeals form?
Only question I would have would be essentially where it would go in front of every kind of the approval for this form would it be at your level, Mark, or would it need to come to the actual appeals board for them to approve?
Based upon how we did everything in the past, we would have a resolution signed by the commissioners to amend or add this as an addendum, if you will, to the board rules and regulations. That must be approved by the county commissioners. Once it's approved by the county commissioners, then the Board of Assessment Appeals would, because they're your designees, they would accept this.
Okay, so if I'm a church and I go through this in 2023, it's going to stay at the Board of Appeals. It wouldn't come to us. It would still be the appeals board still needs to sign off on it. Okay,
right.
Thank you.
The appeals board would still make that decision. What I've been finding, Mike, is I see these churches crossing my desk that are 25,000 square feet. And I feel that, they should be asked some questions as far as the use of that building. Is the entire use of that building, for religious purposes, or is there parts of that building being leased? Sitting on the third floor Willerbank building, I don't know that. So I'd like for these folks to come to the board and to answer those questions. But if it's, that portion that's being used, again, using a church as an example, for regularly stated worship, I don't want them to have to pay taxes based upon a technicality in a case such as this, because, I don't think that's right either. But I would like them to testify, to answer questions regarding the use of property, just to make sure that we're only exempting properties that should be exempted, and we're not exempting things that maybe there's another use that I don't know about.
Thank you, Mark. I think this is really evidence. Some may see this as being, well, this is really kind of in the weeds, nitty gritty, but I think it's actually a sign that your office is basically looking for every way to keep things fair and above board, and to provide the level of oversight that your office can provide, even in these specific circumstances, and also allow these nonprofits to have a better way of getting to their tax exempt status. So I think it's a great thing, and hopefully again, you mentioned Allegheny County, but hopefully other counties, as they look at these kind of things, will use us as a model. So this is really great stuff. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of times I talk to these entities, I talk to the people who are applying for exemption personally, and it gives me some relief to be able to tell them that we have a process in place, to accomplish this. So I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, is it the will of the board to approve this form?
I'd be happy to make the motion, and I can just say, make the motion to approve the use of the special appeal form for Center County.
I will second the motion.
Okay, once again, properly moved and seconded. Any other continued discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. All right, I have one miscellaneous item, but is there anything else, Mark, that you need action from the board?
Not on my end, Steve.
All right, I think knowing that my appointment to the appeals board has resigned, have you had any contact with any other individuals in regard to service on that board?
Yeah, Steve, I have contacted Ray Seglar. Ray is currently vacationing. He's currently in Idaho. He was going to give me a call back when he gets back into Center County. We also reached out to the other board members for some ideas. prior to contacting Ray. So I haven't heard back from any of the other board members, but I'll wait and hear back from Ray and see what he has to say and discuss the requirements, discuss the educational requirements with him and what's expected of the board. So we'll touch back later on once we have some communications.
So Ray's the only individual that's expressed any interest as of this point?
Yes.
All right. Well, keep us appraised of how that works out. Will he be certified, if you will, for service in September with or without this training?
Yeah, according to Act 155, you have a 6-month grace period between time of appointment and time of necessary certification. The certification can be done online now. We have provided that online. So he would have the option of doing it online. I doubt that it's going to be opened back up live across the state until maybe the next election cycle, where we might see an overturn of board members, but it will be available online. I'll go through the 9 hours of training with Ray. Certainly he's a general appraiser, so he would be very well versed in most of in at least a few of the modules. The exemption module is one that he would be required to take, and then also assessment law and valuation. And from my past experiences with Ray, he does have some experience in assessment law and valuation.
All right. Well, just again, keep us appraised of how you're making out. All right. Thank you. Anything else to come before the board this morning? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion at 11:26.
I will second the motion.
All right. Properly moved and second. If no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you all.
Thanks. Thanks, Mark.